Hiya folks, it's Kikoskia here, and welcome to Flasklurb. No, this is not the name of a game that's been taking the world by storm, though it isn't a game that I've been enjoying a lot over the past few weeks. And if you've been checking my Twitter, you'll no doubt know this, for this is a screenshot from Animal Crossing New Horizons, the first Animal Crossing game that I've ever played. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to be talking about why I decided to pick it up, my experience with the game, and what I think about it. Although I imagine you know the answer to the last one already if you've been checking my Twitter. There's been a lot of Animal Crossing on my Twitter. This video contains no gameplay or music whatsoever, allowing you to focus on whatever it is you're up to, whether it's collecting fruit, catching fish, catching bugs, earning bells, or talking to all of the villagers that you share a deserted island with that's no longer so deserted. Now, why did I pick up Animal Crossing? A few people have looked at me playing Animal Crossing and been surprised that it's a game that I enjoy. In hindsight, I shouldn't have been so surprised that I would like it, because I really enjoy playing The Sims, and there are some things that The Sims and Animal Crossing share in common, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. I had heard of the Animal Crossing series before, though I'd never really paid it that much attention, up until recently. With things as they are now, I was looking for a game that I could play and distract myself with, and I had been playing a lot of Pokemon Shield before the point where I got this game. I was mostly at that point breeding shiny Pokemon, which, while good at distracting me, wasn't the most enjoyable of things. Animal Crossing came along and I looked at a few other people playing it and decided I'd give it a chance. Bought it, waited a while for it to arrive. It took a little longer than normal, but such is the way of things. And I started playing, and immediately I saw why people liked it. I arrived after creating my character, Kikoskia, of course, because I usually call myself Kikoskia in these games. I arrived on a deserted island with two other people, Rocket and Sprocket. I set up my tent, helped them set up their tents, foraged for some pears and some sticks to make a fire, and we celebrated our new life on this island that we'd be calling home for the foreseeable future. And then the game informed me that, from now on, everything will take place in real time. 1 minute in real life would be 1 minute in game. Whatever time I turned on the game would be the time in game. That was something I wasn't really prepared for, even though I knew it was going to happen. And that's one of the things that really makes me like Animal Crossing compared to other games like The Sims and Stardew Valley. Lots of people, when I said that I was playing Animal Crossing, suggested that I play Stardew Valley, and I have played a bit of Stardew Valley, but Stardew Valley has time moving in a very different manner. There is a pressure to achieve things because time gets away from you. And even though there's no end point in Stardew Valley, 1 year becomes 2 years, becomes 3 years, and you can spend as long as you like achieving what you want to achieve, there's still only so much time in the day, and those days can go by really quickly, especially if you're doing things that exert your energy a lot. In Animal Crossing New Horizons, there is no energy mechanic, and you have all day to achieve what you set out to do. 1 hour of playtime is 1 hour in game. If you load it up at midday, it'll be midday, and if you play until 2, it'll only be 2 in game, and that's lowness of time relative to other games. The Sims, another game series I really like, also has much faster time, and there's a lot more pressure to achieve things in that game because not doing things will get you into bother. Not paying bills will get things taken away. Not going to work will get you fired. Not eating will make you die. And that's another thing that Animal Crossing New Horizons doesn't have. There's no threat. There is very minor threat in Stardew Valley, but even if you run out of health when you're fighting monsters in the mines, there's no lasting repercussions. In Animal Crossing New Horizons, there is no combat. The closest you will get to a fight is trying to deal with wasps that you disturb when you shake a tree, or running away from a tarantula or a scorpion, depending upon what time of year it is. Some people may be listening to that and going, but what do you do if there's no combat, if you don't gain experience, if you don't gain levels? The answer is, whatever you want to. There is a plot to New Horizons, but it doesn't last very long, and it focuses around improving the island, slowly but surely. And there is something that incentivizes you to earn money, which is bells in the game, and that is the debt that you have with Tom Nook. And might I say that this is the most generous debt in existence? This is a debt assigned to you after the work that the debt is for is done, and there is no obligation to pay it at any particular point, or at all. You can just have that debt sit there forever, and provided that you're happy with the size of your house, you can just leave it. Tom Nook never pressures you into paying it, never threatens you with taking away your property. He's just happy that you're enjoying your life and knows that you'll pay it off eventually, and you will end up paying it off eventually. And then he'll offer you a bigger loan for a expansion to your house, but that is how it goes up to a certain point when you do eventually become debt-free. And then you can truly use your bells to do whatever you want, which normally is buying things to put around your island, but getting a little bit ahead of myself there. So it's me, Sprocket, and Rocket, and I spend quite a few days relaxing, fishing, getting wood and collecting fruit, and eventually I get the museum open, which adds a whole new dimension to the game, where you go and collect fish and fossils and bugs to donate to the museum. And slowly but surely the museum's exhibits increase in size, and now there is the art exhibit as well that was added quite recently, so you can buy art from a less than reputable salesman who will try and deceive you with forgeries. That, by the way, is a brilliant thing, because you have to consult the real works of art to discern whether what you're looking at is the real thing. You can, of course, just download a cheat sheet, as it were, and look at the things there to know what is real and what isn't, but it's a very sneaky way to have people learn about art, I'll tell you that much. But again, getting sidetracked, that happens a lot when it comes to Animal Crossing. So, eventually, the island gets more developed, and I start deciding to place trees in certain places, and start to come up with a theme. Now, there are so many things you can do with your island. You could design a city, you can design an idyllic little village, you can decide that the whole thing is going to be flat and featureless. You can do whatever you like, and there is no wrong way to do things. There's no wrong way to decorate your island, no wrong places to put trees. You can do whatever you like. I decided that I would work with the island that I was given. You do later get terraforming tools, which allow you to create hills, destroy hills, create rivers, destroy rivers. I decided I'm going to leave things as they are, and I'm going to work with what I've got. So I built bridges, I created pathways when I got the ability to do so, I created inclines, and I created my island that's become so familiar to me that it feels like home. It's so very familiar to me. I know how to get from point A to B exceptionally quickly, but quite often I won't go exceptionally quickly. I will take the leisurely route around because I want to see how the villagers on the island are doing, or check the beach to see if there are any shells that I can sell, or all kinds of other things. Sometimes I'll just sit on a bench and watch the minutes go by and relax. But again, I'm sidetracking myself because I haven't even got to the other villagers. I then started using what are called Nook Miles tickets at the Dodo Airlines branch on the island to go to smaller islands to go and collect resources, and it was there that I started to find more villagers. I'm going to talk now about the villagers that I have and had, because not everyone that I originally encountered is on the island. First there's Rocket and Sprocket. Rocket is a gorilla, an sisterly villager, and a constant companion at the start of the game alongside Sprocket, who is a robot ostrich and a jock. Jocks, as you can imagine, love exercising and playing sports and being active, whereas sisterly villagers, while they may seem a bit rough around the edges, are actually very caring. And I had loads of fun talking to them and getting to know them and just spending time on this island with them, as well as the other people that were on the island, like Blathers, who runs the museum, and Tom Nook and Timmy and Tommy, who came to the island with me. Then I met Rattle. Rattle was the first villager from a mystery island. Rattle is a toad, a lazy villager, and Rattle is wonderful. Like, Sprocket and Rocket are also adorable. Sprocket is so focused around being active and fit that Sprocket can't see the wood from the trees sometimes, but Rattle can see the wood from the trees, as long as the wood is edible, and is food. Because Rattle loves food. Loves food, loves resting, loves playing, and is generally an exceptionally laid-back person who you can get along with really well. I didn't know at this time, by the way, that villagers have personalities and hobbies. Like, Sprocket's hobby is actually music, which means he's more likely to do musical things when he decides to do certain activities. Rattle likes nature, and thus will look at flowers, water flowers, chase bugs, and sit under trees, more likely to do all these things. Then I encountered Tangy, and many people who check Twitter and my Discord, because there's now a Tangy emote, will work out that Tangy is my favourite of the villagers that I have on my island. Tangy is awesome. Tangy is a peppy villager and a cat, who's also an orange, or tangerine, depend upon who you ask, but Tangy is all about becoming a super famous pop star / fashion designer / princess / everything, and is full of enthusiasm and light-hearted silliness. You could say she's got a zest for life. Get it? Never mind. She also has the music hobby and loves singing, loves dancing, and is generally an absolute joy to be around. Plus, she sometimes goes cross-eyed when she's looking at things, and that's very silly. Then I encountered Flurry. Flurry is a normal villager, and I've got to be honest, when I encountered Flurry, I wasn't quite sure what I thought about Flurry. I was a bit on the fence. And then I quickly learnt that normal villagers are as sweet can be, and Flurry is even sweeter than that. Flurry is adorable, and so kind and considerate, and I couldn't imagine my island without Flurry. Flurry's wonderful. All my villagers are wonderful, and we haven't even got to some of the later villagers, like Quilsum. Eventually we built a campsite so that people could come and visit the island, and there is a villager that the next day after you build the campsite comes in, and you are told in no uncertain terms that you have to invite this villager onto your island. And that villager for me was Quilsum, who is a smug villager. And my is he smug. He is pretty intent on becoming a world-famous actor / screenwriter. I don't know if he's ever going to manage it, but he's brimming with confidence and not afraid to tell everyone about how successful he's going to be in the future. I have him wearing snazzy white coats and a fedora, and my does the fedora actually fit him. That's a whole thing I haven't even talked about yet, that you can gift the villagers things as presents. You can gift them fruit, you can gift them fish and bugs, which they will then keep as pets. You can gift them clothes, and if they like those clothes, they'll start wearing them. To begin with, I gifted things like fruit and fish and bugs and even shells. But the first time I gifted someone clothing, I believe there was a dress that I found in the clothes shop. It's run by the Able sisters. And I gave it to Tangy, and she was so overjoyed and decided to wear it there and then, and that was when I decided that I would give all the villagers things that they really wanted to wear, things that suit their personalities and the colours they like to wear, and seeing villagers happy with the gifts I gave them made me very happy, and did what Animal Crossing does really well for me, which is calms me down. For me, Animal Crossing deals with anxiety. It helps me not focus on things that have me worried. It's a wonderful form of escapism. Going away to a deserted island and living a life in paradise. Who hasn't dreamed about that at least once? And in Animal Crossing New Horizons, at least for me, that can happen. Moving on to the next villager, we have Gaston, who is cranky. Cranky means that they start very standoffish and not very friendly to begin with, but they do warm up to you over time. One thing that people have said about this game compared to earlier ones is that the villagers are not as mean as they used to be, and I've got to be honest, I'm quite happy about that, because I've seen footage of how mean the villagers could be in earlier entries, and I don't think I'd have liked the game as much if all the villagers were as nasty as they were in some of them, because they were sometimes really nasty. But that's besides the point. Gaston, cranky villager, Rabbit, saw that his name was Gaston, had to take him on the island. You can, of course, say no to people that you encounter. Certain people. The first two villagers that you get on the island, they're just there anyway. And the one in the campsite, you also have to say yes to. But I could have said no to Rattle, or Tangy, or Flurry. I don't know why I would have, but I could have. And then there was Ozzy. Ozzy, a lazy koala, and I couldn't say no to Ozzy. Unfortunately, the next day I discovered that one of the plots that I had sold for development had somebody moving in that I hadn't invited, because sometimes people will just move in. And this person was a snooty villager called Yuka, who is also a koala. And then I went to another mystery island and found another koala, so I could have had 3 koalas on the island. Then I encountered Cookie, another peppy villager, a pink dog, and there was no way I was going to say no to Cookie coming on the island. And so that was my island initially. We had Rocket, Sprocket, Rattle, Tangy, Flurry, Coulson, Gaston, Ozzy, Yuka, and Cookie. But I wanted to make a few changes. Now, there are things that can happen as time goes on. You talk to villagers, you get to know them better, your friendship improves with them. But sometimes events occur that require attention. The events are typically very minor. Sometimes a villager will just want to give you something, or sell you something, or trade something. But occasionally a villager will be thinking about moving out. They'll be thinking about going to new islands, seeing more of the world, and saying goodbye to the island that you share. My island, by the way, is called Avataris. Now, that happened with some villagers, and I always said no because I wanted them to stay. I wanted to get to know them better. But I wanted also to replace Ozzy. Not because I disliked Ozzy, but because I didn't want 2 koalas on the island. And so I ended up getting an amiibo card. Amiibo cards are cards that were used in an earlier Animal Crossing game, I believe, for some interactivity. But what amiibo cards can do in this game is that you can use them to invite a villager directly to the campsite, and over a number of days making things to them, you can persuade them to move in. And unlike if a villager randomly appears at the campsite and they pick one villager that will move out so they can move in, using the amiibo cards, you can pick which villager it is. And so, over 3 days, I moved in Celia. Celia is another normal villager and is a eagle, and much like Flurry, 100% sweet, kind, and caring. And while it was a sad day when I said goodbye to Ozzy, I've not looked back when it comes to having Celia on the island. Celia is wonderful. They're all wonderful. There's also one more change that I made later, and that was replacing Rocket with Frita, because I wanted a different sisterly villager. And Frita is a sheep that looks like she's made of chips, and has a hamburger for a head. Yeah, don't think about it too much. Remember that I have a cat on the island that looks like an orange/tangerine, and that is my village. My village is Sprocket, Rattle, Tangy, Flurry, Coulson, Gaston, Yuka, Cookie, Celia, and Frita. And I couldn't imagine the island without them. I couldn't imagine going around the island without saying hi to Tangy and seeing that Yuka is inevitably exercising outside her house like she often does, and Quilson has fallen asleep once again, and I've actually gotten to know some of the villagers so well that they've given me their framed photos, which is a sign that we're true besties, as it were. Tangy and Cookie refer to me as their besties, and Tangy was the first person to actually give me a framed photo. Then Sprocket, then Gaston, and most recently Rattle. It's my hope eventually that I'll be able to get all of their framed pictures, and all of them to refer to me by nickname, and you have a special greeting. That is something that can happen. They will eventually, one of the villagers will eventually suggest a nickname for you, and you can either go with that nickname, or if you're friendly enough with them, you can say you don't like that name, and they'll ask you for what you want to be called. I went with Kiko, and slowly that nickname has spread across the island. Only Frita, the most recent villager to arrive on Avataris, has yet to adopt the Kiko nickname. And most of my villagers also have a special greeting that they use only when talking to me. So, Taggy will say Heidi hi, and Flurry will say hello there, and it's these little things that add personality and life to the characters, because deep down, all the personalities, it doesn't matter who has that personality, they'll all act the same. All the peppy villagers will act the same, all the sisterly villagers will act the same, but it doesn't feel like they act the same, and that's something that's very human, to attribute personality and sentience to things that do not have those things. But it's very human, and I have grown really attached, not only to the island, but also to the villagers. I like to see how they're doing, I like to talk to them, I like to watch as they go about their lives, and all the silly things that happen, because there are loads of silly things that happen. If you check my Twitter, you'll see all the silly things that happen. I have so much fun playing New Horizons. There are little things that I'd like to have changed. Mainly, I'd like to have an 11th villager, because on the map, which you can use to check the island out, there is this obvious gap where if you had a second human player playing, the things would line up so that there were 6 rows of 2. But right now I have me and 10 villagers, which makes 11, and it makes it a little bit odd, and I would just like an 11th villager. I mean, I don't think the game is ever going to be changed to allow 11 villagers, but to have one more person on the island, I'd really like that, but I understand why there is a nice even number. On average, you'll have 1 of every personality, and either 1 extra for 2 of them, or 2 extra for 1, but you can decide that you don't want that. I've been mentioning about the freedom of what you can do, and there is such freedom. The villagers will sometimes come and ask if their catchphrase should be changed, and you can suggest a new one. You can design the island however you like. You can have any combination of villagers that you wish. You could decide that you want loads of peppy and lazy villagers. You could decide that you only want cat villagers. You have absolute freedom to play the game however you like, at whatever pace you like, and there is no wrong way to play it, and that ultimate freedom is something that not even The Sims gives you, and The Sims gives you absolutely loads of freedom, and yet there are things that The Sims does that this doesn't, like the fact that I only control me in this game. I don't control the other villagers. And to be honest, I really like that. I like that because it makes me feel like I'm a part of this island, a resident, a fellow neighbour, as opposed to the omnipotent force on the island that makes everything happen. Things are happening around me regardless of what I'm doing. And if I'm not there when they happen, I miss them. Such is real life, and it makes the place feel more alive, and it's just one of the things I really love. Sometimes I just love to spend hours fishing and pop into the plaza occasionally to see what's going on. Sometimes I just like to stand there while people are singing and listen to them. Sometimes I like to talk to the villagers over and over again and just have conversations with them. Join in conversations that are already happening. Help villagers out that are feeling down. Do quests for them. Earn loads of money. Buy items. Decorate the interior of your house. There's the whole decorating your house and putting all the things in there you like, most of which serve no purpose other than looking pretty, but design your house how you like. Design the island how you like. Live the life that you want to live. The back of the box says, get ready to start a new life on a deserted island paradise. Build a brand new life from the ground up. Experience the beauty of all 4 seasons. I've only been playing in spring. There's summer, there's autumn, there's winter. There's so much to look forward to. So many events that can occur. There was Bunny Day. Bunny Day was a thing. That was patched to be a little bit less of a thing. But there was Bunny Day. I've also had a fishing event. There's been Nature Day as well. Enjoy island life together. And that is exactly what I've been doing, game. It's exactly what I've been doing. Enjoying island life to the full and loving it. you can expect to see a lot more stuff on Twitter concerning Animal Crossing. Because I love that game, and it's the game that I've been putting loads of hours into. And even as other games appear in the future, I'm not going to stop playing Animal Crossing, because Animal Crossing is just such a joy for me. It's so wonderful and relaxing and calming, and I just really like it. Besides, Tangy will be sad if I go. And who wants to make Tangy sad? Tangy was already startled that I got stung by wasps, as you can see from that picture. That's where the Flasklurb comes from, by the way. I couldn't make Tangy sad. I wouldn't want to make Tangy sad. And that's not going to happen, because I do love this game. And so, in conclusion, I really like this game. I think that was quite obvious. And my only regret is that I didn't start playing this series earlier. Because if I had, I'd have had so much more time with these characters in this world, and so much more fun. But late is better than never, and now that I'm here, I will enjoy many a day on Avataris, even if it rains a lot. Oh my, does it rain a lot on Avataris. I had lots of weeks of beautiful weather, and then it just started raining most days. A lot. I mean, it has its advantages when it rains, but I'd like a sunny day every once in a while, but I don't get to control that. I get to design the layout of the island, I get to design the interior of my house, but there are some things I don't control. But you know what? That's fine. Because that's just Avataris, one of the many things that makes that island great. And so, that was me rambling on about Animal Crossing New Horizons for a lot longer than I thought I would. Such is my passion for the game. And when we come back, folks, we'll be talking about something else. That something else may very well be writing and me, DMing and me, or Threndy of Dusseldom. As a note, the next chapter for the Threndy of Dusseldom is now out for you to read. If you want to check that out, you can go to kikoskia.com/writing/Dusseldom, spelled DUSDLEDOM. And I hope you enjoy it. And so, when we come back, Flasklurb, something completely different. Or maybe not. You may want me to talk more about Animal Crossing. And if that's the case, I'll gladly do so. But I think it's time for me to go get medicine so that Tangy won't say Flasklurb anymore. Oh, Tangy. To be fair, face probably doesn't look that good when it's been stung by wasps. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later.